In this video, we will further talk about the principle of the basic tissues, and we will see what are the diagnostic observations that can help us to understand a body or the condition of the body or the function of the basic tissues in the body or their conditions in the body. So we can see another chart in the picture. We can see another chart, and this chart is also divided vertically into 4 columns. And in this chart, we can see that all 3 basic tissues. The first chart is the first column is telling their nature, and the second is talking about the muscular tissues, and the third is about glandular tissues, and the fourth column is talking about the nervous tissues. If we see the color of the black bile are the secretions of the muscular systems, the red or black. And similarly, we see vertically, their taste would be acidic or sour. And if we chemically see, these things would be acidic in nature. And if we want to see the condition of the pulse, as you know, pulse is a artery present near the wrist, and in this hyperactivity of muscular tissues, the pulse would be up, thin, long, and fast. Up means you can feel as soon as you touch the skin. It would easily felt without any pressure. And thin, we can feel it on fingers, that it will be thin in volume. And long means it would be beating under 3 or 4 fingers. And fast means its number per minute would be greater, more than normal. And when we will see the color of the urine, it would be red, black, and less in quantity, and sometimes maybe blocked, maybe urinary retention. And if we see the pH of the urine, it may range from 1 to 4, or sometimes 4.5 or 5. So muscular pH usually ranges from 1 to 4. And the emotional condition of such person who is who is under the hyperactivity of the muscular tissues would be happy, or player, or joyful. By nature, he would like these things, these feelings, or its personality present these kind of emotions in its actions, or in activities, or in dealings. And usually its his body physique is slim, but in some cases body may be fertile. and the shape of its nails, it would be cup shaped. So these are the main symptoms or the diagnostic observations that can help someone to understand in which his or her body is present. If we talk about the secretions of the second tissue, that is epithelial tissues, their color would be pale yellow, taste bitter and salty. Their chemical nature, they would be salt in nature, and the pulse would be in medium. Medium means that it would be down as compared with up, or it will be uh, mm, thicker as compared with the thin condition of the muscular tissues. Similarly, it would be smaller in length, and its rate would also less as compared with the pulse rate of the muscular tissues. And we see the condition of the urine, its color would be pale or yellow, less in quantity, and uh, but it may be frequent. And if we see the pH, its pH will range from 5 to 7. And if we see such persons, they are usually under the effect of guilty conscious. Uh, Guilty conscious or grief. They may be the main emotions prevailing in such personalities, and their body physique would be medium, and nails would be in normal shape. So it's very easy to diagnose a person with yellow bile humors, or the person with the hot temperament under these conditions. And if we see the third column, that is of secretions of nervous tissues, these would be the diagnostic symptoms in a person that would be under hyperactivity of nervous tissues. And the color of the nervous tissues secretions or humor is white, or it may be blue. Taste, it's tasteless, and it may be sweet. And chemical nature of the secretion is alkaline. And the pulse, if we see the pulse, it will be dipped down, small, slow, and thick. And we see the urine analysis, urine white, more in number and in quantity. And if we see the pH would be greater than 7. And if we see the prevailing emotions in such a personality, grief, sad, worried, or fearful. Mostly worried and fearful, these emotions would prevail in such personalities. And its body would be bulky, and its nail would be spoon shaped. So we can see that these are the basic diagnostic elements that someone can understand and observe in a certain patient and compare the three conditions in the body, and you would able to diagnose or find the hyperactivity of a person. And when you have completed the diagnosis, the second step would become okay, what should be then done, or what kind of diseases, or what kind of other some chemicals that may be present in its body. For example, if we make its analysis, it's a blood analysis, under the effect of muscular tissues, the amount of calcium would increase, and there would be blood traces in the urine analysis, and the main symptoms that would be found in such body, the piles, ulcers, uh, excessive macerations, or fistula, high cup, epistaxis, and TB. And if we want to see what kind of herbs they cause the hyperactivity of muscular tissues, or what are the herbs that stimulate these muscular tissues. They are in herbs, they are clove, cinnamon, nux vomica, and jalapa. These are the herbs that can stimulate the activity of muscular tissues. And we see the metals, because in conventional medicine, metals were used also to treat diseases. And so iron, arsenic, copper, these are metals which stimulate the muscular tissues. And we see in gems, diamond possesses the abilities to initiate the activity of these muscular tissues. And normally the foods that we eat, they belongs to this group of muscular tissue stimulating group. They are peanuts, spinach, eggs, brinjal, corn, tomato, apple, beef, peach, pear, lentil, peanut, lemon, bitter ground, red pepper, chickpeas, and the jambulan. So in the second column, we can see in the chemical analysis that in the blood, the presence of sodium would indicate the hyperactivity of the epithelial tissues. And there may be albumin and protein present in urine analysis. And main symptoms like jaundice, kidney failure, and ascites, dysentery, maturation, gonorrhea, liver cirrhosis, they are the main symptoms or diseases of this group. And the herbs that usually stimulate the epithelial tissues, they are turmeric, ginger, senna, mint, black pepper, and seed. And if we see the metals, sulfur and mercury. And gems, yashb. And if we see the foods that usually we consume, uh, of the epithelial stimulating group. They are ginger, garlic, onion, mint, dates, apricot, walnut, papaya, guava, pistachio, mutton, salt, mustard seeds, split green lentils, and mangoes. And third and final group, if we see the chemical analysis, the potassium electrolyte would be excess in the blood, and in the urine glucose traces may present, and the main symptoms are the diseases in this group of diseases are the hyperactivity of the nervous tissues. They are syphilis, epilepsy, diabetes, cholera, diarrhea, and leukorrhea. And the herbs that have effect on the nervous tissues is the cardamom, is glycyrrhiza, sandalwood, cumin, coriander, and ispaghol. And silver belongs to metal group. Gems include pearls and corals. And the main foods in this group that stimulate the activity of the nervous tissues, they are like pumpkin, okra, loofah, cucumber, coriander, carrot, turnip, almond, banana, sugarcane, plain rice, barley, watermelon, and lychee. So in this video we have made a very simple chart, and we have successfully divided all three basic epithelial tissues in three groups. These three groups, as you can see in the chart very clearly, they are understandable, and by acting this basic principle of treatment, if the muscular tissues are hyperactive, are there the muscular disease in the body, then we should stop taking the things. As you can see in the chart in the second column, they are reasoning the hyperactivity of the muscular tissues. We should stop them, and we can intake it best to take the second group, that is under the epithelial tissues. But the third group can also be used according to needs. So the third and the second group of medicine, herbs, or the foods should be consumed to treat the diseases caused by the first muscular group. And if we have diseases of second type, that are gland diseases or the epithelial tissue diseases, we should stop what is described under the third column. The herbs, the medicines, or the foods, we should stop their intake. And we should take the medicine, the herbs, and the foods that are described under the fourth column. And lastly, if the nervous tissues are hyperactive in the body and our body is suffering from the nervous diseases, then we should stop taking what is described under the fourth columns, the herbs, the medicines, the foods, and it is best to use the things, the herbs and the metals, the gems, the foods that are described under the first column. but at sometimes the foods described in the third column under epithelial tissues, they can also be used. But we should keep one thing in mind very clearly, that if some kind of tissue is hyperactive, then the thing described under its, they should be stopped. Their consumption or their intake should be stopped, so we can uh, stop their increasing level. And the groups that are present in other, they can be used to treat or to relieve the symptoms. So the very simple method can be understand that the diseases of the muscular systems can be treated by stimulating the epithelial tissues, and the diseases of the epithelial tissues can successfully be treated by stimulating the nervous tissues, and diseases of the nervous tissues can very easily be treated by stimulating the muscular tissues. It's a quite natural way and it's very easy way. I think by these 2-3 videos in which I have presented the law of basic tissues before my friends, it would help them to understand this philosophy. And you can also find many research books or articles that are present in this thing. Remember one thing, that the philosophy present mm, in the modern system about the nutrition and the food is sometimes we think is not up to the mark, or it's not right. For example, I just want to make one example. For example, uh, the concept of the modern nutrition system tells us that meat is a protein, and mutton is also protein, fish is also protein. Similarly, the birds like the pigeons and etc., they are called proteins. But when the body is in a disease condition, or somebody is very sensitive, its levels of three humors are disturbed, then by eating these kind of proteins, someone can feel relief or adversity, or increase in pain, or increase in problems. So it's a human experience that this protein has the different effect when it is obtained from different source. The protein of goat is not like the protein of the cow, or the protein then from fish is not different, is a lot of different from the protein obtained by cow. Modern science has tried to divide it into red meat and the white meat, but I think it is still not on the right path. So we have to understand. Similarly, the carbohydrates, when we talk about the carbohydrates obtained from rice is different. From the carbohydrate obtained from the tomatoes, or the potatoes, or the sweet potatoes, or the starch, and there are so many other sources of carbohydrates. their effect is different on the body. So we have to understand the effect of foods in a more modern way that is on the base of the basic tissues law. As very common things available are used by the human society, they are presented in the previous discussed chart, and we can utilize them with a lot of confidence. Thank you very much. Please like and subscribe this video to your friends for their uh, for their welfare or betterment, and to spread the right knowledge to the human beings. Thank you very much.